2 News at Noon begins now.
The death of a cartel leader led to a wave of violence in parts of Mexico. Now there's an urgent warning in place for Americans traveling in that area.
And it's been quite the rainy morning across the inland Northwest. We're tracking who is still going to see rain for the rest of the day.
And then over the weekend, TSA Precheck was temporarily closed because of the partial government shutdown. How this will impact flyers today and beyond. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on KREM 2 News at Noon. I'm Laura Papetti, and we begin by checking in with Thomas Patrick. He is outside in the Outdoor Weather Center. Thomas, what do you know?
Yeah, umbrella on standby right now, Laura. It's just off to the side here, and I felt just a couple raindrops. Not enough to break it out, at least not here in Spokane, but a different story for areas just east and literally just a few miles to the south. So let's zoom right on in Spokane County. Again, not a lot happening over the city itself, but once you get to about Liberty Lake and Otis Orchards and you keep going through Coeur d'Alene, it's just been raining all through noon at this point, and even heavier where the darker green is to the south, especially Rosalia to Tico. This has been a corridor of certainly the heaviest rain so far through the morning, now crossing into the noon hour. Pullman, you're getting a little bit of a break, but this is kind of a region, again, southeastern Washington into central Washington, where the rain is just completely flat and widespread. So likely going to see the most rain through our southern areas. I will note, just looking at the raw model totals, going over an inch of rain for Pullman between today and tomorrow. That's a little bit on the high side. You'll probably end up closer to a quarter or a half an inch of rain, but notice the big split between very little to the north, but a lot more to the south. So that is what I'm primarily looking at here. Just a few raindrops being reported at the airport in Spokane. Few raindrops being reported in front of my eyes here in the South Hill. So coming up, we'll show you how much longer that rain is going to last and if Spokane is in for any heavier bouts of rain later on today. We'll look at that in a few minutes.
Thomas, thank you. Right now, thousands of Americans in Mexico are being told to shelter in place. This after a drug cartel was killed over the weekend. This led to an increase of violence in parts of western Mexico, and some Americans are stuck there while trying to get home. Wendy Gillette reports.
Heavy smoke rose from several fires set in the city of Puerto Vallarta after the head of a Mexican drug cartel, 59-year-old Nemeso Rubino Seguero Cervantes, also known as El Mencho, was killed.
The city's pretty much all shut down.
The U.S. State Department warned Americans to stay inside. As the violence started to unfold, some in the region returned home, including this woman who saw smoke rising outside her plane bound for Houston.
I feel safe now, but I'm still shaking because I can't believe this has happened to us.
But others are stranded as some flights out of Puerto Vallarta and other cities were canceled.
Unfortunately, there were no available flights to get us out of PV until Thursday.
This is the car El Mencho was traveling in, the boss of a criminal network known for drug trafficking to the U.S. The White House says the U.S. provided intelligence support to help the operation that led to a shootout and his killing.
This was one of the most significant actions undertaken in the history of drug trafficking, almost at the same level as Chapo Guzman.
The drug lord El Chapo is serving a life sentence in a U.S. federal prison. The killing of El Mencho could lead to more unrest as rival gangs challenge each other for control. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
And right now, one of the Americans stuck in Mexico is a CEO from Seattle. Colleen Echohawk is the CEO of Community Roots Housing. She was on vacation with her family in Puerto Vallarta, and now they are trying to get home. She has met other people from Seattle and says they are banding together and supporting each other.
We're hoping that by tomorrow, the airport will be a much calmer place and that, flights will be able to land and take off. But, we're also, not counting on it.
Echohawk mentioned a local pharmacy burned down in the chaos, causing some concern for people nearby who are now unsure about getting their medications. Over the weekend, airports experienced confusion as the government makes changes to security operations. So yesterday, workers and passengers at SEA wondered whether TSA Precheck was even operational. The Port of Seattle commissioner says employees were notified that Precheck would be unavailable. That came in around 5:45 yesterday morning. Employees began preparing for that change, only to have federal officials then reverse the action. The Department of Homeland Security says the reason for the closing of Precheck and Global Entry was because of the partial government shutdown over funding for DHS. The Port of Seattle commissioner has emphasized that SeaTac does not control those federal operations.
The facilities are ours, but there are parts of our facilities that are run and managed by the federal government, including the International Arrivals Facility, which obviously processes all the international passengers. So CBP runs that space.
Now, SeaTac says TSA Precheck is actually up and running. However, Global Entry is not. Coming in new today, Nick Reiner. Rob Reiner's son pleaded not guilty during a second arraignment hearing. He is accused of fatally stabbing his father and mother late last year in their LA home. He's been in custody ever since. His next court date was set now for April 29th, coming up this year, for a preliminary hearing. If convicted, Reiner could face the death penalty or a life sentence without the possibility of parole. And right now, Spokane police are investigating a deadly stabbing that happened in North Spokane near North Division and the Apple Tree Inn. Police blocked off the area for hours yesterday afternoon. Investigators have not released the identity of the victim or if they are looking for a suspect. Our team is making phone calls and we hope to learn more soon, and we'll certainly share that with you. Today, a Medical Lake family is without a home after theirs caught on fire. Fire crews responded to a 911 call. It was about 6:30 yesterday morning near Rambo Road. Spokane County Fire District 10 says no one was hurt in the fire, but it is not safe for the family to return yet. Firefighters had to bring in more resources because of how large that fire got. We are told the home was being remodeled. Investigators are still trying to figure out what caused that fire.